Hey, good morning. Well, we're going to go ahead and go into writing strands. We're going to be in the second week, which is going to be on this page, which I think is page 33 in your book. I don't think you have the book, but I did download or upload the book in PDF form to Google Classroom. So you should be able to pull it up on your screen, or if you have a printer that works, you could print out the pages. Now, if you don't, let me know, because you may have already said something to me and I forgot, but I do want you to have some of these pages if you can. If not, I'll have them on the screen, but like I said, I did download it to Google Classroom, so you have to look back through. I think I called it Writing Strands Book or something to that effect, but it's on Google Classroom. Okay, so this week, well, the way this works is, and I think I may have told you that we were going to do something different, but I've since changed my mind. So one week you have a writing assignment. The next week is a reading assignment, but it also includes writing. And then it goes back to writing and then reading, and then writing and then reading, and it alternates like that. So the first week that we had this, the first 5 days, was a short writing assignment. Remember, we were writing about, the sentence, making a good sentence. All right, so this at the very top says that your teacher will assign a book for you to read this week. Be sure to finish it before the end of the week, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we're not going to do that part of it. I know you read, and I'm not going to have you read an entire book in 1 week, although you probably could, but you're already reading. So what that means is the very last lesson of this section we won't do, because it goes with the book that you would have read, if that makes sense. Okay, so today we just have one page to look at. We're just looking it over. Now these over here, our objectives, are the things that we want to make sure that we learn throughout this week. Basics of plot. This is the word we're focusing on this week, plot in literature. We're going to study a Bible passage, which we'll do in the next lesson. Then we're going to answer questions about that Bible passage. Then we're going to write a paragraph summary of a plot and then condense it into one sentence. So we're going to kind of do the same thing that we did last week, where we make this, big paragraph thing and then we put it into a sentence. Okay? All right, so let's read this here. A story is a series of events which may be either fictional or real. Stories are part of our everyday lives. You hear or read about them in books, on TV, internet, conversations. The best way to communicate a story, especially in writing, is by using a literary device called a plot. The plot is how you tell the story. Let me stop right there. Back when you were maybe in the second grade, maybe first, second, third grade, you may remember if you might read a story and then you had to tell and you had to list in order the things that happened in the story. That's plot. That's working with plot. So that's what we're talking about. Okay, so the plot is how you tell the story. It's the sequence of events. People have been telling stories since ancient times. In ancient Greece, a writer named Aristotle believed that a story's plot needed to have one main action that was the focus without anything extra. He also believed that a story needed to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. In many ways, people still write plots that are similar to what Aristotle talked about in ancient Greece. Most stories still do have a recognizable beginning, middle, and end. We usually divide a plot into more elements than this now, which we'll learn that later on in the year. But those divisions are still based on the idea that a story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Stories also usually have a main plot, which is the basic story that's being told. It may have additional subplots, which are smaller stories that are also happening. Aristotle probably wouldn't like a story with a lot of subplots, but they're almost always related to the main plot in some way. A lot of people think about the plot as just being about what happens. However, there is more to plot than that. In a good story, the plot, the characters, the theme, they all work together. The theme is the story's message. A good plot will help convey the theme. The plot also makes it easier for the reader to understand the characters because it lets the audience see how the characters respond to what is happening. And we'll learn more about these things throughout the rest of the year. So, but what I was going to tell you right here is if you think about say a peppermint, a piece of candy in a wrapper. You know how it's got the candy in the middle and then it's wrapped up and it's got the two little things on each side and then you just pull it and it unwraps the candy. Well, if you'll think about that all wrapped up, okay, and you're looking at it, it's sitting in your hand and you're looking at it. On the far left side, the first little wrapper, that's the beginning. The middle part is going to be your candy part. That's all the juicy details. And then the other part on the right-hand side that you would pull is the ending. So you could think of it kind of like that. And also you can think of not only books, but movies. Movies are the same way. They've got a good plot. They're supposed to. A good story, a good movie will have a good plot. So here's some discussion questions. Think about one of your favorite stories. Okay, what's the plot? The sequence of events. Does the story have a beginning, a middle, and an end? What's happening in the beginning? What happens in the middle? What about the end? Does the story have any subplots? Now, when you think about subplots, this is what I think of is, for instance, if you're watching a movie and you've got all these characters, well, you've got this happening over here with these people, and then you've got other characters that are, this is going on. And it seems that both of these situations have nothing to do with each other. I was watching a movie not long ago that had that in there. It was, I can't even remember what it was called now, but it was a historical drama. And you had a love story. And these people were falling in love. And then it had another set of people that were falling in love. And the only thing that they had in common was a mutual person that they knew. And I could not figure out how these things were happening. Well, at the end of the story, it all kind of came together. But I would think of those as being subplots. Well, how do you know that they're subplots and not the main plot? Well, for me, it was because it wasn't the main characters and it wasn't the main plot. It was just another little thing going on over here. How does the plot connect with the story's message? And what does the plot tell you about the characters? Just questions to kind of get your mind going and thinking about plot and about things that you've read. Stories, books, doesn't matter. Okay, so you don't have an assignment today, but tomorrow we will have a short assignment, I do believe. So we'll get to that tomorrow. But anyway, your only assignment really is to just be thinking about these questions. Okay? All right, that's all for today.